Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. And what we're going to do in this one is we're going to create the notification. So if the user actually replied to a thread, they will get a notification to the author of that thread. So let's just go here. So the author of this thread will be able to get a notification as soon as someone replied to their thread. And later on, what we'll do is we'll use that same notification class to actually, if someone subscribed to the thread, to get a notification as well. So the notifications, we'll handle them in two ways. We're going to do a database notification and we will do an email notification. All right, so we'll send to both. All right, so that means for the database notification, we need to create a database for that notifications. The other means is we need to set up our email in order just to test if the emails get sent and stuff like that. All right, so if the person replied to the post, the author of the post get a notification, but later on when people subscribe to the thread, they will also get a notification. All right, so this is the notification that we'll have right here, and we're going to use Livewire to display these notifications and things like that. All right, so let's go to Visual Studio Code and I'll show you the steps that we need to be able to create this. All right, the things that we need to do to create a notification. All right, we obviously need to create the notification class. Then we're going to create a notification policy because we want to make sure that only the user that is authorized to actually mark the notification as read. All right, so that's why we're going to create that. Then we're going to create an event to listen for when a reply was created. So as soon as the reply was created, the event needs to fire off. All right, and then we're going to create a listener to listen for that event. All right, so as soon as that event is fired off, the listener will listen for that event and actually whatever needs to happen after that. Then we're going to map the listener event in the event service provider. Then we obviously need to set up our database. Then we're going to create Livewire components for the views of the notifications. All right, so to show the count, to show if the user has notifications, and to display also the different notifications that have been sent, and obviously for the user to mark it as read. All right, so these are the things that we will do that obviously will not be done in one video. So this will be a couple of lessons because I don't want to, if you want to come later on back, you will go to the specific video if you're stuck on something. All right, so that's basically the process that we're going to follow. And yeah, let's get started. All right, so let's open our terminal and actually create our notification class right here. All right, so what we're going to do is PHP artisan. I just want to show you help make notification like this. All right, what did I type wrong here? All right, I misspelled it right there. Let me just do that. PHP artisan help make notification. I just put my semicolon in the wrong place. Notification. All right, I'm going to leave the errors in because sometimes people get the same problems. All right, now the thing is, in this case, as you can see, what it requires, we can just put in the name and then all the other extra things that we can do. But for us, we're just going to add the name. All right, so let's quickly create that notification. Let me just open my terminal again. So PHP artisan make notification. And I'm going to call this one new reply created. Okay. Actually, what will be better is if we just make it new reply notification, just like that. All right, so new reply notification. Press enter. Okay. Press twice enter. So you will see we got a new notification. You will have a new folder called app notifications, new reply notification. This one right here. All right. So the thing that we want to do is we want to change the wire right here. We want to use the mail and obviously the database. Just change this to mail and database. and then to an array, you just change to database, like this. Right, so there's a couple of things that we need to do in this one to make it work and functional. Right, so the first thing that we want to do in here is we want to create a public variable, and this is going to be for our reply. Right, to know which reply we need to check and send the notifications for. All right, so a new reply is created, we get that new reply, then we do it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do in our construct method, we obviously want to add that reply in there. Okay, it needs to be lowercase. Okay, and then we're just going to say, why is my caps lock? Okay, this reply is equal to that reply. Okay, so we know how to do this by now. Okay, this is just creating a notification instance, but I don't like block comments that much unless really necessary. Right, so in this case we need to let me just do this again. All right, but you can leave it, like I said, it's all down to preference. If the code doesn't speak for itself, please add it in there. All right, so in this case we set up the public variable, we did our construct method. Now the var method is just to saying which methods are we going to use to send the notifications. All right, so in this case we're going to use the mail and the database to do that. Obviously for the database one, we need to set up a database for the notifications, but we're going to get to that part. All right, so now what we're going to do is for the toMail, we need to create this one right here. We're going to pass in the user model. Okay, so we need to know to which user must we actually send the email to. All right, so we can, in this one we're going to create a mail class to actually send the email. All right, so we're just going to create a new, we're just going to type in here reply new reply email. Okay, we haven't created this mail class yet. All right, and I just want to pass in this reply. Okay, because I want to, all right, because I want to this new reply to be to this reply that we created right there. And we just want to delete this part right here, and we just want to reply this, send it to which user. All right, so to all right, let me just open up my user model quickly. User model. Just want to show you guys something. You see, this use notifiable is very important. So make sure that you use this, but that's not what I want to show you. The thing is, you see this email address. This is the email address I'm going to reference now in a second. All right, so I'm just going to say that this user email address. All right, the class and the user name. Right, so the user email address is the one I'm referencing in here. Right, so I'm referencing this method email address right here. Okay, and the user email address and the user right there. All right, just make sure you obviously import your model at the top, the user model on top right there. Now, as you can see, I can, before, let's say I don't import it at the top. Okay, let me just do it like this. Let me delete it right there. As you can see, I cannot go to this method right here because Visual Studio Code doesn't know what user we're talking about. It can be anything right there. It doesn't know it's in the models. It can be literally anything. All right. So as soon as I import it at the top, all right, now Visual Studio Code, which user am I actually referencing here? Now, as you can see, I can actually go to that method right there. The name right there. I know to some people this might be new, to others like, yes, I know. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we need to set up our toDatabase right here. Okay, we need to return a couple of things. We need to return the type. Okay, this is going to be a new reply. this is an array, so it needs to be separated by comma. Okay, then we're going to put in our reply. Remember, this is the fields that we're going to have in our database. All right, so we're just setting them up in here. All right, and the reply is going to be this. Let's just make it like this. This dot reply ID. Okay, the next one is going to be the replyable ID, because Laravel, for this one, let me just open up my user model again. It's going to use a polymorphic relationship to bind our user and whatever it is to, as you can see, morphs. Okay, so we're going to use a more polymorphic relationship for our notifications. Right, so let me just close this off. That's why I said make sure you have the use notifiable in your user model right there. Right, so this is going to be a reply. And what we're going to do is this is going to be this reply replyable ID. Right, the next one is going to be the replyable type. Reply. I didn't put in there. Oh. Let me do it like this so that you guys can see. I'm just going to type in everything and I'll be with you in a second. Right. All right, so what we have done now is we got our replyable ID. All right, this one needs to be replyable type. Okay, and the next one is going to be the replyable subject. All right, if you followed the VS Code extensions video lesson, just make sure you import this at the top. When you can do that, you can actually hover over the methods like this, and you can control click on them. Right, then you can move to that. So as you can see, if I press control on it, it will highlight it underneath, and I can actually go to those methods. All right. So the replyable subject is on our interface, and our interface is, if we go to our thread model, right here, it needs to implement that replyable subject. Okay, so as you can see, we use as replies right there. Okay, and then obviously it implements our interface of replyable. Okay, like here, and that's our replyable subject. Okay, so that's why we can be able to call on the replyable right here, the relationship, and on the relationship we're checking for the replyable subject. And the replyable subject is the interface that we use in our thread model right here, implementing right there. Okay, so that's how we get past that. Right. So we're going to do this in a couple of lessons. So this is basically just setting up our new reply notification. This one right here. The next one is we're going to do our policy and probably creating the event. But I would like to create the event and the listener in the same time frame. But we're going to see how much time we have to do that. Right, as the policy doesn't take up too much time. All right, so I might do this all in separate videos. I don't know. Let's see about time. Right, so basically we created our new reply notification to be able to do that, and we set it up to the database and obviously the one to the email. Obviously it doesn't work yet because there's still a lot of work to do to make it workable. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. All right, and yes, if you have any questions or any suggestions, please leave it for me in the comment section, and maybe we can spice things a little bit up with the notification and what you would like to see in it. All right. Thank you guys, and see you in the next one.